and welcome to the Paletteful Packs YouTube channel. My name is Alice, and today I have the January 2024 Paletteful Premiere Pack here in front of me. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. Oh, what a cute sticker. It's all seasonal. Look how wintry it is. That's so cute. I love that sticker. Okay, I see a black carbon water soluble. So this is like a water soluble black carbon. Instead of a pencil, it's a carbon disc that you can use dry or with water soluble techniques. Interesting. And then there's a second one in here as well. We also have a 6 watercolor graphite pocket set. How cute. These are by the Paletteful brand. I have some of their regular watercolor pencils. Aquagraph. Oh, pretty. There's some warm tones and some cool tones in here. Okay, so these are the tones that we're gonna get. So we have a greenish graphite, a bluish graphite, a reddish graphite, and then we have an 8B, a 4B, and a HB for the dark gray, medium gray, and light gray of the graphite. So yay, that's so exciting. I'm super excited to play with these. Oh, a Strathmore watercolor travel journal. I actually have one of these as well. Cute. These are super cute. They're like these little travel journals, and they're nice watercolor paper, and they have this little band. I've always felt like you could decorate the front of these really easily, or like use them like inserts in like sketchbook covers. Oh, there's also some Strathmore mixed media paper in here in a really fun shape. 3 by 9 inches. This is mixed media paper, so it's great for all different kinds of techniques, so it'll take this graphite perfectly, both wet and dry. And I'm seeing some other things in here. We also have a big, chunky, water-soluble graphite pencil. I love big pencils. Like, big, fat pencils make me so happy. So I'm super excited about that. And then the last thing we have in here is this angled shader. This is by Robert Simmons Sapphire line. Love angled shaders. They're a great style because they have that like skinny side, so you can get real thin lines, but you can also get flat washes with them. So they're really perfect for getting into lots of different areas. I found one more thing. This is an Aquarelle by Stabilo pen, and this is this works on paper, glass, plastic, and metal. As you can see, it just worked on my hand. So this is pretty dark, so this will be good for like lighting and stuff. Okay, so this is everything you're going to get in this month's Paletteful Packs. We've got the 2 Artgraph Black Carbon Water-Soluble Carbon Pucks. We, of course, have our cute little sticker. We have our big, chunky, water-soluble graphite pencil by Lyra. We also have the Stabilo Mark All Aquarelle pencil, as well as a Robert Simmons Sapphire Angled Shader brush. Then we have these Cretacolor Aquagraph, like, watercolor graphite pencils. We have them in a green, a red, a blue, a dark gray, a medium gray, and a light gray. We also have this super cute little sketchbook by Strathmore, as well as the Strathmore mixed media paper. So that's everything you're gonna get. Let's go ahead and start playing around with these supplies and see what we can make. Okay, so as always, the first thing that I'm going to do is make some swatches, and I'm going to use the Strathmore mixed media paper for this, starting with the Cretacolor watercolor pencils. And also, quick note, I am so sorry about the state of my hands. I was painting right before I filmed this video, and even though I did wash my hands, you know, sometimes it just takes a bit of scrubbing to really get that paint off. Yeah. So anyway, you may be noticing that the colors don't look super color-y, but you are going to be shocked because I was. Look what happens when you put the water on. All of a sudden, those colors start to appear, and you can start seeing a lot more distinct blue and green and red. Going in with this super chunky pencil, which was really fun to make marks with and blended out really nicely and was a lot darker than I expected. And then trying that Stabilo Aquarelle pencil, it makes really nice dark lines, and then it blends out really nicely as well. And then you have the Carbon Puck, which was definitely the darkest. So I totally forgot to film the sketching part. I thought I was recording and I wasn't, but I just sketched this out in the lightest color of the Cretacolor watercolor pencils. And then I went in with the blue watercolor pencil watercolor graphite. I don't know what to call them, but coloring that whole background in so that it had this like dark blue, starry night sky vibe. I always, when I start a new sketchbook, I'll do an intro page. So that's what this is. It's the intro page to the sketchbook. And I always leave a space to write what the month and the year that I start and the month and the year that I end. So everything is going to go in this big circle at the center, and that's going to be like the moon. And there's 2 moons in this piece, and there's mushrooms and leaves, and I just put in things that make me happy and that I like, symbols that I like. I wasn't worried about creating something super artsy fartsy here. I just wanted to do something for me and something that was fun and that set the tone of the sketchbook. And I thought it would look really pretty with all the muted tones that we had here. Since we've got so many grays and blacks and then those muted colors, I thought it would be a really pretty aesthetic. So finished that up, and then I went in with water, which was super satisfying. I feel like filling in the background is always a really, really tedious thing, especially when you're working with pencils, but coloring it in and adding that water, it's like magic. I feel it reminds me of when you're a kid and you have those water magic paint pages, you just put water on and color appears. It reminds me of that. So you can see how pigmented these get when you put water on them, and they really do blend out nicely. I didn't see any issues with like any marks left on the paper, distinct marks, and being able to see like your pencil lines and things like that. They're really, really pretty to work with, and I love this blue gray that you get. It's a really, really interesting texture. It's definitely a little bit different than a regular like watercolor pencil, but it seems to smudge less than graphite, so that's a bonus. So it's kind of this really weird and awesome in-between medium. I'm super excited to see how everybody has used it and is going to use it this month. So yeah, filling in the little bit of final details down at the bottom and getting all the little spaces in between where the grass is. And then I'm going in with that red on the top parts of the mushrooms and just kind of adding in the shading, and I'm going to blend that out into the white, but the whole thing will eventually end up red because I'll blend it all out, but then you'll have the darker areas of shading. So you start kind of in the lighter areas and blend into the areas of shading normally, but for this I start with the shading area because that's where the color is coming from, and blend out into where the highlights would be. Now I'm using the final color that we have with this watercolor graphite set, which is this dark, really gray green, and I'm using that to fill in all the leaves and the grass in the foreground. I'm not worrying too much about shading on this. I'm just being really, really loose, and also filling in some little leaves that are surrounding the moon, and then going in with that water and darkening it up, blending everything out. You can really just see how the color comes to life. It's just, it's so fun. And I'm gonna go and add shading and details in later with some darker tones, so I'm not really worried about that at this point like I was worried about it with the mushrooms, because I'm going to add in shading later. I feel like this creates and develops a really interesting texture as it settles into the watercolor paper. I think it's very unique and interesting, definitely different than watercolor or watercolor pencils, and it seems very unique to water reactive graphites. I'm using the lightest color to add in some shading to the stems, and then I'm going in with the big old chunky pencil, as I'm liking to call it, and adding some shading in on the moon, blending that out with the lightest color of the watercolor graphite, and then adding in water, working in this case from the highlights into the shadows so that I can get a nice blend. And then I'm going to go in using a little bit of the carbon puck, and I'm going to add in some little details, some little specks and shadows, little holes, craters, things like that to the moon, just to make it a little bit more detailed. And then I'm going to use that graphite puck again to add in little black specks, dots, whatever you want to call them, spots, to the mushroom tops, which I think is super cute and totally finishes the mushrooms off in a really cute way. I also added some little dots because I've noticed like some mushrooms, they kind of have like little dots and big dots, so I tried to mix it up a little bit with my dots. And then I also used the carbon puck and just the very skinny edge of the brush to add in these little veins on the leaves. And then I wanted to add more definition to everything. I kind of liked how it looked without the lines, but I weighed my options and I decided that I wanted things to stand out a little bit more. There were some lines that needed to be cleaned up with the stars. And so for those reasons, I decided to go ahead and outline everything. I also needed to bring the stems of some branches back, so it was just easier to do it this way. So I used the dark aquarelle pencil and used that to line everything, and it's really nice. It's very black, it's very dark, easy to work with. I didn't end up adding any water to it because I just chose to use it as the line art, but I think it worked really well because you can get that lighter pressure and darker pressure, so you can kind of vary your line weights and get this really nice kind of soft look that's still got the boldness of black lines. So added in just a little bit more shading to the moon in the back, and that was pretty much it. I signed it with a pen I had lying around, and that is my finished piece. I think it came out super cute, and I'm really happy with it. I can't wait to see what y'all do with this month's box. If you would like your own box, then definitely click the link in the description box below to join us. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next month. Bye!